Chapter 230. Qin Huan, who was the closest to Pei Yucheng, tried to help him up. However, he had just taken a step forward when Pei Yucheng sent him flying. F***ck, Qin Huan fell on a pile of debris and whimpered as he held his waist. I almost forgot. You can't get close to boss now. Second young master, third young master, don't go over. You will be crippled if you do. Even the three of them couldn't handle boss when he lost control, let alone Pei Yutong and Pei Nanshu. Lin Yan hadn't expected that the man would suddenly vomit blood. Her face, which had been filled with rage, froze. She looked flustered and flustered. Lin Yan stood there in a daze as she stared at the man in front of her. The burning blood in her body cooled down bit by bit. Pei Yucheng had finally reached his limit and his body fell to the ground slowly. Lin Yan's pupils constricted as she instinctively reached out to support Pei Yucheng. However, Pei Yucheng avoided her touch. Lin Yan's face stiffened. A second later, she grabbed him forcefully. You still have a temper? I'm the one who's about to die from anger. Ahem. Pei Yucheng clutched his chest. Lin Yan paced around anxiously when she saw that Pei Yucheng was about to vomit blood again. In her panic, she compromised without hesitation. Ah. All right. All right. It's my fault. It's all my fault. Calm down. Calm down, F***ck. Are you kidding me? It was just a quarrel between a couple. Why did you vomit blood because of me? Lin Yan muttered softly. Was she that fierce? Oh. She had indeed been fierce earlier, however, he was the one who had bullied her first. Forget it. Forget it. He had vomited blood. Lin Yan didn't care who was right or wrong. All she knew was that when she saw Pei Yucheng vomiting blood, she lost all her temper. Pei Yucheng seemed to be resisting Lin Yan's touch. However, when Lin Yan helped him for the third time, he finally stopped moving. Hence, Lin Yan carefully helped Pei Yucheng to the couch and stroked his back. Are you feeling better? Beep. Beep, beep. Beep. The alarm on Pei Yucheng's watch was still ringing frantically, but it seemed to have slowed down. What the hell is this watch? It keeps ringing. Lin Yan glanced at the watch impatiently before turning to Pei Yucheng. At this moment, the man's clothes were in a mess. His hair was covered in cold sweat, and his handsome face was pale and weak. The eyes under the gold-rimmed glasses were tightly closed as he lay on the sofa on the verge of death. Lin Yan felt guilty all of a sudden. What the hell? She was clearly the one who was being bullied. Why did it seem like he was being ravaged by her? No matter what, Lin Yan didn't dare utter another harsh word. All she could think about was how she had angered him. In any case, he had to calm them down first. Lin Yan softened her voice and patted his back gently. Don't be angry, okay? I know I was wrong. Really, although she did not know where she had gone wrong. Chapter 231. I shouldn't have been so fierce to you. But you can't blame me. It's your fault for attacking the people around me. I was anxious. Lin Yan rambled on. Pei Yucheng's body was too weak, so she could only support him and let him lean on her. Lin Yan felt as though a knife was stabbing into her heart when she saw the pained expression on the man's face. She gritted her teeth and said, at most. We won't break up. We can get back together. But you can't threaten me anymore. Okay? However, Lin Yan was amused when she said this. Pei Yucheng didn't care about the breakup. He just cared that his authority couldn't be challenged. Pei Yucheng fell silent. After some time, he said, okay. Lin Yan was startled when she heard that. He had agreed. Why had he agreed so easily? Lin Yan snapped back to her senses after some time. Her eyes lit up. Are you sure? You promised me. You can't do that to my mother and Uncle Xia. I don't like it. Pei Yucheng opened his eyes slowly and stared unblinkingly at the girl before him. Okay. Lin Yan replied, and my grandfather. Pei Yucheng replied, okay. Lin Yan was speechless. What was wrong with him? She had caused such a huge commotion. She had thought that he was ruthless. In the end, he had agreed to everything just because she had said something nice to him? Lin Yan stared blankly at the man in front of her. She was dumbfounded. So, why was she so angry that she ran over with the attitude of, I'll die or I'll die, causing such a ruckus? Lin Yan probed, then. You can't interfere with my work. You can't change my company or manager. You can't control my schedule. I don't like it. Okay? However, Pei Yucheng didn't agree this time. No. Lin Yan was speechless. He had agreed to everything. Why couldn't he agree to this? Furthermore, he was so determined. It couldn't be because she had interacted with many male actors in other productions, right? Why would Pei Yucheng care about her that much? How could that be possible? This time, Lin Yan didn't fly into a rage. Lin Yan's eyes darted around as she looked sad and aggrieved. She pressed her palms together and pleaded, then. Mr. Pei, can I go to the company you arranged for me later? I still have some unfinished business here. I promise you, when I'm done, I'll definitely come over, okay? Pei Yucheng fell silent for a few seconds. Okay. Lin Yan was speechless. As expected, he agreed again. Lin Yan was dumbfounded. She hadn't expected Pei Yucheng to be so easy to coax. Beep beep beep, the sound of the silver watch on the man's wrist was getting weaker and weaker. At the same time, Qin Huan and the others, who were anxiously calling for specialists and doctors. Pei Yutang stared at Lin Yan, who was speaking softly and coquettishly. Didn't you say that there's no such thing as giving in? Qin Huan glared at his boss, who was listening to everything Lin Yan said. My boss isn't that easy to talk to. Xing Chen dropped the lollipop in his mouth in shock. Brother Yu's condition has stabilized. This is the lowest it has been in 2 years. It's indeed a powerful stabilizer. Chapter 232. Lin Yan's eyes lit up when Pei Yucheng agreed. She grabbed his hand, afraid that he would go back on his word. It's a deal then. Almost as soon as the girl's small hand touched the back of the man's hand, the silver watch on the man's wrist that had been intermittently making beeping sounds stopped completely. Lin Yan stared at the watch on Pei Yucheng's wrist suspiciously and muttered, this Vacheron Constantine watch is so high-end. Why does it have an alarm function? Pei Yucheng was speechless. Everyone was speechless. Pei Yutang muttered excitedly, he's indeed my father. Even his thoughts are the same. Father and son are connected. When Pei Yucheng's watch stopped beeping, Ching Imo, who had been silent all this while, strode over. Ching Imo turned to Lin Yan and said, Miss Lin, you've misunderstood something. I think I have to explain it to you. What you said just now about your mother, uncle, and grandfather was not Boss Pei's doing. Lin Yan was startled when she heard this. What? But he had admitted it himself. Ching Imo nodded and replied confidently, all orders from President Pei go through me. I have never received any orders from him. Last night, President Pei had indeed called him over. However, he hadn't given any orders. He stood at the side and watched Boss Pei smoke for the entire night. Hence, it couldn't have been President Pei's doing. He had wanted to explain earlier, but he hadn't been able to get a word in edgewise. President Pei had even admitted it, so he couldn't say a word. Now that both of them had calmed down, Ching Imo finally found a chance to explain himself. After explaining, Ching Imo glanced at Ji Lan, who was still kneeling in the corner. The girl's face was covered in cold sweat, but she looked furious. She gritted her teeth and said, I did it. Brother, you didn't know about it. Lin Yan frowned when she heard this. No wonder this girl had threatened her. She had made a decision on her own. She had been so furious that she had instinctively assumed that Pei Yucheng had given the order. Qin Huan and the others stared at Jilan in shock. Jilan. Are you crazy? How dare you do such a thing? Qin Huan exclaimed in disbelief. He hadn't expected Jilan to be so bold. He had really thought that Brother Yu had done it. He didn't suspect Brother Yu at all, as his style was similar to Brother Yu's. Who would have thought that Jilan would make the decision on her own this time? Jilan straightened her back, but her expression showed that she didn't think she was wrong. Xing Chen shook his head and showed a pitiful expression. Lin Yan glanced at the girl coldly before turning to Pei Yucheng. Her expression was complicated. If you didn't do it, why did you admit it? Pei Yucheng remained silent. Pei Yucheng remained expressionless. He didn't push all the blame to Jilan either. Instead, he replied calmly, "There's no difference. This is what I wanted to do." He didn't deny it because this was the darkest thought in the depths of his heart. Moreover, she also believed so. Lin Yan was speechless as she listened to him. She couldn't tell how she felt. How could there be no difference? Even if Pei Yucheng had such thoughts, he hadn't done so in the end. No one knew better than her how difficult it was to control yourself when you lost control. Chapter 233. Actually, the only thing Pei Yucheng had insisted on was that she join Summit Entertainment. Lin Yan couldn't help but recall what Pei Yucheng had said to her in the car when Pei Nanxiu had gone to pick her up. At the time, she had asked Pei Yucheng if he would mind if she had a bad reputation and was criticized by the internet for being a bad actress. "I do mind. Do you need me to deal with them?" This had been Pei Yucheng's reply. He had minded the people who had bullied and insulted her. Pei Yucheng hadn't denied it. Had he thought about doing that, or had he thought that she wouldn't believe him? That was why he hadn't explained himself. Although the truth was a dark, dirty swamp, there was a glimmer of light in its depths. Pei Yucheng coughed violently again. Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yucheng's subordinates and bellowed, "Hey! He's vomiting blood. Why are you guys still standing there? Call the doctor." Everyone was dumbfounded by the roar. "Didn't you want to kill boss just now? I heard that you were seriously ill and in a coma. Is that true?" Lin Yan muttered to herself. Pei Yutong immediately chimed in, "Big sister-in-law, you don't have to worry about that. As long as you stay by my brother's side and don't quarrel with him, he will definitely be healthy." "What the hell?" Lin Yan rolled her eyes at Pei Yutong. "Am I a Lingji elixir?" Qin Huan, Xing Chen, Qing Mo, and the others glared at Lin Yan, as though they were saying, "Aren't you a Lingji elixir?" "I'm asking you something serious." Lin Yan snapped angrily. "I'm answering you seriously." Pei Yutong muttered softly. As long as Big Brother didn't lose control, there wouldn't be a problem. Lin Yan felt that these people were too unreliable. She let go of Pei Yucheng's hand and searched for her phone. She wanted to call a cab to take Pei Yucheng to the hospital. However, the moment she let go of Pei Yucheng's hand, the silver watch on his wrist began to beep again. Everyone was speechless. Pei Yutong stared at the watch and said anxiously, "Look. I told you that you can't break up with me." "Ha!" Lin Yan instinctively grabbed Pei Yucheng's hand again. The watch's beeping slowed down, but it didn't stop. At that moment, Lin Yan realized that everyone, including Pei Yutong, looked extremely nervous when they heard Pei Yucheng's watch beep. The watch had started beeping violently when Pei Yucheng had vomited blood earlier. Could it be some sort of medical device that you might use to monitor your body was related to Yu's condition? Instinctively, Lin Yan suspected that Pei Yucheng and this watch had something to do with her. But she couldn't figure it out. How could it have anything to do with her? Isn't this a watch? Is this a body scanner? Lin Yan probed. Lin Yan listened anxiously to her watch, which was still ringing. So this is really a body detector? Every time it rings, it means that you're not feeling well. Didn't it stop ringing just now? Why did it start ringing again? How can I stop it? Pei Yucheng studied the girl's anxious face quietly. A second later, he bent over slowly and planted a gentle kiss on the corner of her lips. With this feathery kiss, he said, "Is this okay?" A second later, the device went silent again. Lin Yen was speechless. Chapter 234. The few people at the side silently looked at the two people who were clearly arguing with each other a moment ago, and now they were showing off their affection. Pei Yutong was elated. "That's great. My prayers were answered. Wasn't this just a bedtime quarrel?" Lin Yan's eyes widened as her eyelashes fluttered. She only snapped back to her senses when Pei Yucheng stood up. She stared at Pei Yucheng in a daze for a long time before she glanced at his watch. Everything was quiet, it had stopped ringing. What kind of magical watch was this? Could it be that she really was some kind of miraculous medicine? At that moment, Cheng Imo received a call. He walked over and reported to Pei Yucheng. "President Pei, Professor Wilson and his team have arrived. They are at Cloud Manor now. Should we ask them to give you a diagnosis?" Before Pei Yucheng could reply, Lin Yen asked, "Is the doctor here? Hurry up and let him take a look at Mr. Pei." Cheng Imo glanced at Pei Yucheng hesitantly. Pei Yucheng had always hated doctors. Unless he had lost consciousness, he wouldn't have allowed them to approach him. Pei Yucheng said, "Get the car ready." Everyone heaved a sigh of relief when they heard him. All right, they had reconciled. The world was finally at peace. They wouldn't have to live in fear and bloodshed anymore. Long live peace. Long live the dog food. Ji Lan was the only one who remained kneeling on the ground, her expression dark and gloomy. At Cloud Manor, Pei Yucheng had all sorts of equipment connected to his body, and he was doing a detailed physical examination. Lin Yen couldn't be disturbed during the examination, so she waited in the garden outside the house. Suddenly, her phone rang. It was her mother. Lin Yen hastily answered her mother's call. "Hello, Mom? What's wrong? What's the matter?" He Muyan's cheerful voice could be heard from the other end of the phone. "It's fine. I'm just calling to tell you that you don't have to worry about the matters at home. I just received news that everything has been resolved." Lin Yen was taken aback. "Everything has been resolved? That was fast. Yeah, it's strange. The developer suddenly announced that there has been a change of plans. Your Uncle Xia also called to say that everything has been resolved." He Muyan replied. "What about grandfather?" asked Lin Yen. He Muyan replied, "I'm at your grandfather's place now. I'm not too sure about the exact situation, but Lefeng said that the competition can proceed as usual." "That's good." Lin Yen heaved a sigh of relief and told her mother, "I have something to do. I'll look for you at grandfather's place later." Okay. Yen, don't rush. Drive safe, okay?" "Okay, Mom, I know." Lin Yen ended the call with her mother and hung up. The moment she hung up, she turned around and saw Pei Nanxiu standing a few steps away from her. "Mr. Pei." Lin Yen muttered to herself. "Miss Lin, thank you so much for today. If it hadn't been for you, my big brother would have been in danger." Pei Nanxiu was filled with gratitude. Lin Yen coughed softly, looking a little embarrassed. She hadn't been able to control her fiery temper today. She had actually exploded in front of her idol. His image was completely destroyed. I was at fault too. I was too impulsive. If I had calmed down and talked to Mr. Pei, perhaps this wouldn't have happened. Lin Yen replied. Pei Nanxiu studied the girl and asked hesitantly, "Miss Lin, may I ask you a question?" Chapter 235. Pei Nanxiu glanced at the girl and asked hesitantly, "Miss Lin, may I ask you a question?" Lin Yen asked, "What is it? Why did you break up with my brother? Did my brother do something wrong to make you unhappy?" Pei Nanxiu was puzzled. The two of them had been in a good relationship. He couldn't understand why they had suddenly broken up last night. How could that be possible? Before this, Pei Yuqing had always been a godly boyfriend in her eyes. She had almost been tempted to betray him. Lin Yan scratched her head, looking conflicted. She had her reasons. The problem was that right from the start, her relationship with Pei Yuqing had been a misunderstanding. If she hadn't lost control of her consciousness and done uncontrollable things, she wouldn't have been in such a hurry to break up with Pei Yuqing. Damn. Lin Yan was startled when she realized what she was thinking. Had she broken up with Pei Yuqing because she had lost control of her consciousness? Lin Yan collected her thoughts and deliberated over her words before she said, "This is a little complicated. I have my reasons, but it's fine. I will explain everything to Mr. Pei. When the time comes, it's up to him to decide whether to break up or not." Pei Nanxiu chuckled softly and said confidently, "No matter what, my brother will never break up with you." Initially, he had been curious as to why Big Brother would care so much about a girl who had appeared out of nowhere. However, when he found out that Big Brother had changed because of this girl, he was certain of Lin Yan's importance to him. Lin Yan didn't know why Pei Nanxiu was so sure. Actually, she was puzzled. She hadn't known Pei Yuqing for long. She had even thought that Pei Yuqing was just fooling around with her. In the end, she realized that Pei Yuqing was more serious than she had imagined. She was the one who had been fooling around. She couldn't help but feel guilty at the thought of this. "Oh yeah, how is Mr. Pei?" asked Lin Yan hastily. "He is undergoing a thorough examination, so no one is allowed to disturb him. The examination will take a long time, so my brother asked me to arrange for a chauffeur to take you back to rest." "Are you sure he is fine?" "The results aren't out yet, but based on the readings, he is stable." "Don't worry." Lin Yan hesitated. "Pardon me for asking, but what illness does Mr. Pei have?" "This. I can't explain it clearly." Pei Nanxiu tried his best to explain in a simple manner. "You can think of it as a disease that can't be stimulated. If you are stimulated, your body will lose control and you will be in danger." Pei Nanxiu's words reminded Lin Yan of the kiss he had given her earlier. Was her influence on Pei Yuqing that great? Wouldn't it really become a Ganoderma elixir? Is that so? Instinctively, Lin Yan felt that things weren't that simple. If it had been as easy as Pei Nanxiu had made it sound, they wouldn't have looked as though the world was coming to an end when they had heard their watches ring. In any case, the matter was finally resolved. After she was certain that Pei Yuqing was fine, she instructed the chauffeur to take her to her grandfather's place. Chapter 236. When she reached the old mansion, Lin Yan went to a nearby mall to buy some things for her grandfather. She carried the bags into the mansion. Her grandfather, He Dingkuan, and her mother, He Muyun, were sitting in the living room. "Sister Yan, you're here." Lin Yan's second cousin, He Lefeng, strode forward and took the bags from her. "Why are you here?" Eldest cousin, He Mingkai, glanced at Lin Yan and glanced at He Muyun. He sneered coldly. "The competition is starting tomorrow morning. Some people don't know anything, yet they insisted on coming." "Brother Mingkai, don't say that." He Lefeng frowned at He Mingkai as he spoke softly. "Don't say that." He Mingkai glanced at He Lefeng and sneered coldly. "Then what should I say? Don't you know who caused this mess?" "Brother Mingkai, you can't blame Aunt and Sister Yan for this. No one wanted this to happen. Besides, the team isn't good enough. Otherwise, we wouldn't have ended up like this," He Lefeng muttered softly. Suddenly, Big Uncle He Xiong said coldly, "Xiao Feng, what does a kid like you know? Your brother Mingkai is right. Plus, if it wasn't for the funding problems and the team's lack of investment, with your brother Mingkai's ability, he would have been a second-tier racer in the country, or even a first-tier racer." "Dad, don't talk to them. They don't know anything, especially this mother and son pair. They make me sick." He Mingkai looked disdainful. "All right." He Dingkuan's eyebrows were furrowed, and he looked displeased. Seeing that the old man was angry, no one dared to say anything else. "Grandfather, I have good news for you. The corners of He Lufeng's mouth curled up into a proud smile. What news? Asked He Xiong. The boss of Swift, Pei Yutong. He Mingkai grinned. I got to know the boss of Swift by chance. After a few rounds of communication, he finally agreed to watch our race tomorrow. As long as we perform well, we might be able to get Pei Yutong's investment. Pei Yutong. He Xiong paused. I don't think I've heard of him. He Lufeng replied, they're quite capable. Storm's racing equipment is considered top-notch, but their racers aren't good enough. Their ranking hasn't risen, but that's not important. If Storm's boss is willing to invest in us, it doesn't matter even if we lose the competition. I know the Storm motorcade. Old Master He Dinkuan glanced at He Mingkai and said, however, are you sure that the boss of Storm will be here tomorrow and that he intends to invest? Grandpa, don't worry. I have a good relationship with the boss of Storm. There won't be any problems. I can guarantee it. He Mingkai said confidently. Yeah, Mingkai. I didn't expect that you would be able to invite the boss of Storm over. You've worked hard this time. He Dinkuan nodded at He Mingkai. Mingkai, you did well. You've made us proud. He Xiong glanced at He Mingkai, looking gratified. Then, he glanced at Lin Yan and He Muyun and sneered coldly. Unlike some people who only know how to extort and harm their families. They don't contribute at all, yet they still act as though nothing has happened. Chapter 237. Lin Yan glanced at her eldest uncle and eldest cousin, He Mingkai. She didn't even have the desire to talk to them. Let's eat. Grandfather He Dinkuan spoke up. He Xiong glanced at He Lufeng and said, Xiaofeng, you mentioned that you've settled the navigator issue. Is there a problem tomorrow? There shouldn't be a problem. He Lufeng's eyes trailed to Lin Yan. Lin Yan shot him a reassuring look. Xiaofeng, what do you mean by there shouldn't be a problem? If there isn't a navigator, you can't compete. Even if you can compete, how are you going to compete? Isn't this a joke? He Xiong frowned. Yeah, I know. There shouldn't be a problem tomorrow. He Lufeng nodded. Who is your navigator? Did you hire him from outside? He Mingkai glanced at He Lufeng as he asked. All this while, He Lufeng hadn't been good with words and he hadn't performed well in competitions. Hence, almost no one had been willing to be his navigator. Not too long ago, He Lufeng's last navigator had left. I discussed this with Sister Yen. Sister Yen will be participating in the competition tomorrow. She will be my navigator. He Lufeng pondered for a moment before he spoke up. Everyone was taken aback by He Lufeng's words. Even He Muyun, who had been silent all this while, had a slight change in her expression. Lin Yan was going to be Xiaofeng's navigator? Xiaoyan, you want to be Xiaofeng's navigator? He Muyun glanced at Lin Yan in surprise. Lin Yan nodded and replied, Mom, I've already discussed this with Xiaofeng. Besides, I'm part of the family, so I want to contribute. Xiaoyan, are you confident? He Muyun asked hesitantly. Although a navigator wasn't a racer, they were more professional and required a strong memory and analytical ability. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to be a navigator. Mom, don't worry. I'll try my best. Lin Yan grinned. Before He Muyun could retort, He Xiong sprang to his feet and glared at Lin Yan. What kind of joke is this? You want to be a navigator? Are you out of your mind? Who do you think you are? I finally understand. What do they mean by being a part of the family? They want to do something for the family. I think they want to completely destroy the family and Grandpa's motorcade. He Mingkai sneered. Big uncle, brother Mingkai, since Sister Yen said she would be a navigator, she must be confident. Besides, without a navigator, I wouldn't be able to finish a race. He Lufeng glanced at He Xiong and He Mingkai with a sigh. Xiaofeng, are you out of your mind? He Xiong glanced at He Lufeng. I heard that after she dropped out of high school, she went to another city to work. What does she know about racing? Does she really think that she's sitting in the passenger seat? Do you know what this competition means? He Xiong didn't give He Lifeng a chance to retort. Brother Mingkai spent a lot of effort to invite Storm's boss, Pei Yutong. He has contributed so much to this family. What does she want? Does she want to destroy the team? She wants to make Storm's boss think that we don't know anything and that any random person would be a navigator? Chapter 238. Dad, I believe in Xiaoyan. Since Xiaoyan says it's possible, there shouldn't be any problems, He Muyun told He Dingkuan. Naturally, He Muyun knew her daughter very well. Even though Lin Yan wasn't a good navigator, she had a good memory. As long as she was given some time to familiarize herself with the course, she should be able to handle it. Dad, you know that Xiaoyan has a good memory since she was young. Plus, Xiaofeng's previous navigators were all junior navigators. If Xiaoyan can familiarize herself with them, even if she can't compare to them, she should still be able to make do, He Muyun continued when He Dingkuan didn't respond. What do you know? He Xiong glared at He Muyun. Anyone can be a navigator. What's the use of having a good memory? What about your ability to analyze the course? Do you think this is a game? What a joke. He Mingkai glanced at Lin Yan. Who gave her the courage? There are all kinds of birds in a big forest. Enough. Before Lin Yan could respond, He Dingkuan slammed his fist on the table. Immediately, no one spoke again. The race starts tomorrow morning. Even if we want to find a navigator for Xiaofeng, we won't be able to find one. Besides, Xiaofeng isn't the focus of this race. Let's get Xiaoyan to be Xiaofeng's navigator to make up the numbers. He Dingkuan fell silent for a moment before he spoke up. Soon, He Dingkuan's eyes landed on He Mingkai. Mingkai, you have a huge responsibility for tomorrow's race. Even if you lose, you have to finish in the top 3. That way, the boss of Storm might even invest in you. Top 3? When He Mingkai heard what his father and He Dingkuan had said, he was put in a difficult position. Although he wasn't bad, it would be difficult for him to finish in the top 3. There would be 3 teams in total, including them. There would be more than a dozen cars on the track. He Dingkuan sighed softly when he saw the change in He Mingkai's expression. Mingkai, just do your best. Let Xiaofeng and the rest of the team support you. There should be hope. Count on them. He Xiong's eyes trailed to Lin Yan as he sneered coldly. Grandfather, I will do my best to win this elimination round with Xiaofeng. Lin Yan grinned at He Dingkuan. He Lifeng was speechless. All right, but you and Xiaofeng have to do your best to support Mingkai. As long as Mingkai enters the top 3, even if he loses, he won't lose so badly, He Dingkuan said. Grandfather, I got it. Lin Yan nodded. Actually, Lin Yan wasn't interested in racing at all. If it hadn't been for her grandfather, she wouldn't have participated in the race. She wouldn't have become a navigator either. But now that things had come to this, the most important thing was to protect his grandfather's convoy. Haha. Grandfather, listen to this outsider's tone. I want to laugh when she and Xiaofeng won the competition together. She has to know her place. She doesn't even know what racing is. She treats racing like a taxi. He Mingkai glanced at Lin Yan. Chapter 239. Lin Yan didn't respond to He Mingkai. Indeed, she didn't even have the desire to converse with a racer like He Mingkai. There was a generation gap between them. She was afraid that there was a gulf between them. Forget it, Mingkai. Since your grandfather has already spoken, just focus on your own race tomorrow. Even if you lose, it's not your problem. Just treat her as if she doesn't exist. Don't let her affect your performance, He Xiong said to He Mingkai. Dad, I understand. Don't worry, I will do my best tomorrow. He Mingkai nodded and grinned. Even if I lose, as long as Storm's boss, Pei Yutong, sees my ability, I will consider investing in him. Suddenly, Lin Yan's phone rang. Lin Yan whipped out her phone and read the caller ID. Third young master Pei Xiong. Lin Yan stood up and walked out of the living room to answer the call. Hello, big sister-in-law. Pei Yutong's voice rang out. What's wrong? Did something happen to your big brother? Lin Yan frowned. My big brother? Pei Yutong was taken aback. Nothing. My big brother is doing fine. The specialist is examining him. He is fine, what's the matter? Lin Yan asked curiously. Big sister-in-law, why are you so cold to me? You will hurt my young heart. Pei Yutong sighed heavily. Lin Yan was speechless. Shouldn't she only call when there was a problem? If she didn't get straight to the point, her phone bill wouldn't last. Her plan didn't include free minutes. It was expensive. Big sister-in-law, are you still there? Say something. Pei Yutong blurted out anxiously. I'm here. What's the matter? Lin Yan sounded helpless. Big sister-in-law, is the He family team your grandfather's team? Pei Yutong asked. Yeah, replied Lin Yan. That's good. I was afraid that I had made a mistake earlier. Pei Yutong quipped, the He family team is considered the weakest team. They don't have money, manpower, or anything else. What are you trying to say? Lin Yan was dumbfounded. Had he called just to complain about her grandfather's team? Big sister-in-law, I heard that the He family team is going to compete in the elimination round tomorrow. I'm sure you will be there. After all, if the He family team loses, they will have to disband. Today, a member of the He family team, He Mingkai, asked me to watch the race. I promised big sister-in-law that you would appear tomorrow. If you don't participate, what's the point? I definitely won't go. Lin Yan was speechless. So that was what had happened. She had been a little puzzled as to why Pei Yutong had taken a liking to the He family's team and gotten together with He Mingkai. I will participate in the competition tomorrow, Lin Yan replied after a moment of silence. Big sister-in-law, I got it. I will definitely arrive early tomorrow to cheer for you. Pfft. The two teams competing with the He family aren't even as good as my team. Big sister-in-law, you can crush them with just one toe. You definitely don't need to cheer for them. It's like a king crushing a piece of scrap metal. No, I have to inform God Z and the rest. They all want to watch you race. Pei Yutong smiled. Chapter 240. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up, replied Lin Yan. Pei Yutong was speechless. Beep. Beep. Pei Yutong was speechless. After hanging up, she returned to her room. Not long after, about a quarter of an hour, He Xiong's phone suddenly rang. What? Really? After He Xiong picked up the phone, his expression changed drastically. His eyes were filled with disbelief. All right, I understand. Tomorrow, we have to host them to the best of our abilities. He Xiong replied solemnly. Dad, who is it? He Mingkai asked after He Xiong hung up. Old master, Mingkai, let me tell you something unbelievable. He Xiong looked excited. Do you know who is coming to watch our competition tomorrow? He Dingkuan replied, just tell me. Dad, it's ZH1. He Xiong exclaimed excitedly. Did you say ZH1? He Dingkuan's body trembled when he heard He Xiong. ZH1, the top team in the country. He Dingkuan had been following ZH1 for many years. He liked their captain, God Z, Mumu, and the others. ZH1 was definitely one of the top teams in the country. As for a team like ZH1, they had to look up to them. Why would they watch their competition for no reason? Dad, are you serious? ZH1? He Mingkai was in disbelief. Some time ago, ZH1 had been invited by Storm's boss for a friendly match. He had met some of the ZH1 members at that time, but they hadn't been allowed to enter. Hold on. He Dinkuan calmed down and glanced at He Xiong. Which ZH1 is it? Old Master, which other team could it be? It's the team that you've always been following. He Xiong grinned. Why would ZH1? Why would they come to watch our competition? We have nothing to do with each other. He Dinkuan was puzzled. Old Master, do you even need to ask? Storm's boss, Pei Yutong, is one of ZH1's sponsors. Pei Yutong is here on account of my son, your grandson, He Mingkai. ZH1 must be here with Pei Yutong to see Mingkai. He Xiong replied hurriedly. An indescribable excitement appeared in He Mingkai's eyes when he heard He Xiong's words. He slammed the table and said, I met God Z some time ago. I didn't expect that God Z would personally come to watch my match tomorrow. Lin Yen was speechless. This father and son. Why are they so dramatic? Is ZH1 really here to see them? However, Pei Yutong's speed and efficiency were too fast. He had called to inform God Z. How long had it been, and ZH1 had actually come to watch the competition? After the competition with speed, God Z had called her several times, but she had been busy and hadn't picked up. Besides, Lin Yen knew what God Z was thinking. He wanted her to join the ZH1 team. However, Lin Yen wasn't interested in the ZH1 team at all. ZH1. Brother Mingkai. You're amazing. He Lufeng stared at He Mingkai in awe. As a racer, He Lufeng knew very well what ZH1 represented. It was a top-notch team in the country, and it was extremely difficult to even meet them, let alone watch a competition. He Lufeng hadn't expected that He Mingkai would be so capable. Not only had he invited the boss of Storm, but he had also invited ZH1. Chapter 241. It was getting late, so Lin Yen and her mother stayed the night at the old mansion. Too many things had happened in the past few days, so Lin Yan's mind was in a whirl. She couldn't fall asleep no matter how hard she tried, so she put on a coat and left the house. There was a stretch of sea not far from the old mansion, and the beach was empty. There was no one around. Lin Yen felt calmer as she enjoyed the sea breeze. Too many things had happened ever since she had been banned from competing. Everything that she knew had changed beyond recognition. She didn't know if she would ever be able to return to the competition. Right now, she was most anxious about her brother. She had to find the laboratory as soon as possible and find her brother. She had to find the mastermind and kill him. As for Lin Shia, actually, she had treated Lin Shia so well because she had already lost her younger brother. Hence, she had given all her care and concern to her only sister. She had encountered so many difficulties over the years, including the kidnapping incident, but none of them had defeated her. However, she had almost fallen into the abyss because of Lin Shia. Fortunately, she could start anew after severing all ties. At this thought, Pei Yucheng's gentle smile surfaced in Lin Yan's mind. She had almost forgotten that she had a thorny problem to solve. She had to think carefully about how to explain it to Pei Yucheng when the time came. Lin Yan lay on the soft beach as her thoughts drifted away. She started to feel sleepy. Plop. Gulp. Gulp. Suddenly, a strange sound entered his ears. Especially in the middle of the night when there was no one around, it simply caused his scalp to go numb. In an instant, Lin Yan's sleepiness disappeared as she surveyed her surroundings vigilantly. However, the surroundings were still empty. Not to mention people, not even a ghost could be seen. Gulp. 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 However, the strange sound didn't fade away. Instead, it became more frequent. F***CK. Lin Yen had goosebumps all over her body. What the hell was going on? It was too creepy. Under the moonlight, Lin Yen caught a glimpse of a few keys by the sea. Lin Yen didn't think too much about it. She hurriedly ran forward and stared at the keys. Had someone drowned? At this moment, the surface of the sea was still bubbling non-stop. Lin Yan's expression changed instantly. She didn't have time to think. She hurriedly approached the shore and reached into the sea. A few seconds later, Lin Yan's arm rose forcefully. Lin Yan grabbed a handsome young man by his hair and pulled him out of the sea. The young man stared intently at Lin Yan as she lifted him into the air. "Are you all right?" asked Lin Yan with a frown. "Get lost," the man said. Lin Yan was speechless. "I'm sorry. I thought you were drowning." Lin Yan let go of him awkwardly. The man's body sank into the sea again. The man kept slapping the surface of the water with his hands. I accidentally rolled down just now." Lin Yan was speechless. Lin Yan was shocked when she heard the man's words. She grabbed the man's hair and dragged him to the shore. "Are you all right?" Lin Yan asked as the man panted heavily. Yes. Let me call the ambulance." Lin Yan whipped out her phone. "Of course not," the man said. Lin Yan was speechless. Lin Yan stared at the drenched man with an odd expression on her face. She hadn't seen anyone since she had arrived at the beach. When had this man rolled into the sea? Chapter 242. Lin Yan crossed her arms and propped her chin on her hands. She stared at the man, who was drenched in sweat. "Why are you looking at me?" the man asked Lin Yan as he shook off the seawater. "When did you roll into the sea?" asked Lin Yan. "About an hour ago." The man pondered for a moment before replying honestly. "An hour?" Lin Yan was dumbfounded when she heard the man. No wonder she hadn't seen him on the beach. He had rolled into the sea for an hour. Why hadn't he drowned? "I'm glad you're fine." Lin Yan scanned the man from head to toe before she returned to her seat. The man followed her and studied her for a long time with a strange expression on his face. "What's wrong?" Lin Yan frowned. You look a little like me." The man stared at Lin Yan and stammered. "You've got the wrong person." "I'm not." Could he be her haters? Lin Yan shook her head resolutely. It was late at night, and she hadn't put on any makeup. How could he recognize her? "He looks like the perverts I used to know," the man replied. Lin Yan was speechless. Pervert? Before Lin Yan could retort, the man's eyes gleamed coldly as he gazed at the beach. "Help me," the man hurriedly said to Lin Yan. "Get lost." Lin Yan glanced at the man expressionlessly. He had said that she looked like a pervert, and now he was asking for help. She shouldn't have saved him. "Don't tell me that you've seen me." The man rolled back into the sea as Lin Yan stared at him in bewilderment. Lin Yan was bewildered. Before Lin Yan could ponder further, a group of young men and women dressed in black scuttled over. The man in the lead was scanning the surroundings. "He's nearby," said the man in black. "Didn't we look for him just now?" another woman replied expressionlessly. Lin Yan glanced at the young men and women without batting an eyelid. Had the stutterer deliberately rolled into the sea to avoid them? Not only that, the leader of the black-clothed men was holding something that looked like a tracking device. "You." Suddenly, one of the women walked over to Lin Yan and said coldly, "Did you see a stutterer nearby?" The woman whipped out a photo and waved it in front of Lin Yan. The man in this photo was the stutterer who had just rolled into the sea. "I haven't seen anyone before. I've been here for a while, but no one else has appeared." Lin Yan pondered this for a moment before she shook her head. Although Lin Yan wasn't sure what kind of feud these young men and women had with the stutterer, she knew that it had nothing to do with her. Never seen him before. The young lady studied Lin Yan coldly, trying to find clues in her eyes. However, Lin Yan's eyes were as calm as a deep well. The young lady turned around and stopped talking to Lin Yan. Leader, I don't think so, the young lady said to the leader. Heh, interesting. Chapter 243. The tracker in the leader's hand kept emitting ear-piercing sounds. The man strode over to Lin Yen and moved the tracker closer to her. A second later, a red light appeared on the tracker. Almost instantly, the people behind the young man rushed forward and surrounded Lin Yen. Not bad. You have a Class A, the man stared at Lin Yen with a smile on his face. Even if it's a recycling price, it's not a low price. What do you mean? Lin Yen frowned at them. How did they know that she had a Class A body? I mean that you're very valuable. The man licked his slightly dry lips and winked at the young woman beside him. Without any warning, the young woman swung her palm at Lin Yan's neck. Swoosh. A whistling sound could be heard. This young woman's strength was shockingly great. Her palm was so powerful that it could even shatter a boulder. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yen stumbled backward. A dull thud was heard as the young woman's palm struck empty air. Even the air seemed to freeze. Lin Yan's pupils constricted. These people weren't ordinary people. It seems like there's nothing wrong with the tracker. It's indeed effective. Class A, the leader's smile widened when he saw Lin Yen dodge his attack. Who are you? Lin Yen asked coldly. Shoo. The leader placed his index finger by his lips and chuckled softly. Don't be anxious. You'll find out soon enough. The young woman attacked Lin Yen again. She didn't hold back at all. Lin Yen was furious. She had been enjoying the breeze by the sea and had been in a good mood. However, this group of people had ruined her mood. Bang! Lin Yen grabbed the young woman's fist. The woman's fist was covered with a layer of brass knuckles, which was extremely lethal. Who are you? Lin Yen stared at the young woman expressionlessly as she gripped her arm tightly. The force of Lin Yan's palm made the young woman frown as cold sweat trickled down her forehead. Scram! Lin Yen snorted coldly and took half a step forward. She lifted her right knee and struck the young woman's abdomen. Immediately, the young woman let out a cry of surprise. Her entire body was like a kite with a broken string. She flew more than 10 meters away and fell heavily on the sand and stones. A grade physique. Not bad indeed. No wonder the price is so high. The leader glanced at the young woman who had been sent flying by Lin Yan's knee before he turned back to Lin Yen. Lin Yen was about to say something when the rest of the young men made their moves. They attacked Lin Yen at the same time. Lin Yan's reflexes were swift. She grabbed the two young men and threw them into the sea with brute force. A second later, Lin Yen instinctively raised her palm to block it. However, a powerful force spread from Lin Yan's palm to her entire body. Her palm went numb and almost split open. Just as Lin Yen was retreating, the leader of the group lunged forward and grabbed her neck. Chapter 244. Lin Yan's eyes gleamed coldly when she heard the man. Did you come from the laboratory too? Laboratory? The leader sneered coldly when he heard Lin Yen. In the end, it's just a product from a laboratory. TSK, how cheap. Cut the crap. Where is my brother? Lin Yen lost control at the thought that these people might be related to her brother's disappearance. Your brother? The leader glanced at Lin Yen. What are you talking about? How would I know who your brother is? Aren't you going to tell me the truth? Green veins popped on Lin Yan's forehead as her pupils dilated. Bang! Lin Yen punched the man's abdomen. Thud! The man's face was a little twisted. He staggered a little and quickly took a few steps back. Captain, she doesn't seem to be of the same level, a young man frowned as he spoke. The leader snorted coldly. The higher the level, the higher the price. Use that. The young men whipped out palm-sized airbags and hurled them at Lin Yen. Lin Yen, who was in a semi-controlled state, smashed the airbags with her bare hands. However, when the airbags broke, they formed a net that caught Lin Yen off guard. A second later, Lin Yen felt as though she had been struck by lightning. The excruciating pain made Lin Yan's willpower dissipate. Pfft! You wasted one of my airbags. The leader glanced at Lin Yen as his lips curled into a pitiful smile. Lin Yen was trapped in the net, and the indescribable pain made her unable to move. Her body was stiff, and she couldn't even move a finger. This was the first time in her life that Lin Yen had experienced such unbearable pain. Amidst the pain, Lin Yan's mind was filled with images that didn't belong to her. She saw her brother, Lin Yuetong, her mother, and her grandfather. However, when her relatives looked at her, their faces were filled with fear. It was as though they were begging her to let them go. In the unfamiliar laboratory, she had a cold expression on her face and a haze in her eyes. It seemed as though everyone was afraid of her. These scattered images made Lin Yen feel fearful and unfamiliar. However, right at this moment, the scene changed. It was a scene of them hugging each other to sleep. What followed was an endless quarrel. She could even faintly hear a voice calling out to her. "Mom." The excruciating pain jolted Lin Yen back to her senses. The scene that had appeared in her mind earlier seemed like an illusion. Lin Yen tried her best to fling the net away. However, she couldn't budge. At the same time, in Cloud Manor, Pei Yutong stared at Pei Yucheng, who had suddenly fallen to the ground. He spat out the juice in his mouth and hurriedly reached out to support the unconscious Pei Yucheng. "Big brother. What happened to you, big brother? F***ck me. Someone come quickly. Big brother fainted. On the beach. Ah, you're actually still struggling. You haven't fainted yet? That's scary enough. I'll definitely sell you for a good price." The man in the lead smiled playfully. As the leader's voice fell, the tracker in his hands suddenly emitted a sharp alarm. Chapter 245. Huh. Seeing this, the leader was taken aback. The tracker in his hand did have an alarm function. However, he had hunted too many people with mutant physiques, and this had never happened before. Even when he encountered a high-level mutant, the alarm hadn't been so sharp and frequent. "Captain, what's going on?" The other young men looked at the tracker on the leader's head, and they were also puzzled. "I don't know. Is there a malfunction?" The leader looked puzzled. "Captain, look." Suddenly, one of the young men pointed at the alarm, looking shocked. Instinctively, the leader looked at the alarm. Originally, the red light on the screen of the alarm changed in an instant. Orange? The leader's expression changed when he saw the tracker turn from red to orange. There were many colors on the tracker, which corresponded to different levels of mutant physiques. Red meant a mutant physique, orange meant a mutant physique, yellow meant a level, green meant a level, and black meant a level. "Captain, it turned green." Suddenly, one of them shouted with a horrified expression. There was a mutant with a mutant physique nearby? However, when the leader looked at the monitor, the green turned black instantly. Seeing this, the leader's body trembled and he looked around vigilantly. However, there was no one else on the beach besides them. Woo 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 woo. The alarm on the tracker became louder and louder, as though it was protesting against the arrival of the apocalypse. There must be a malfunction. The leader frowned. How could there be a blue-level mutant? "Captain, look at that woman." The leader turned to Lin Yen. How is that possible? Lin Yen had already stood up again. The electric net was emitting a strong electric glow, but it hadn't failed. A second later, Lin Yen tore apart the electric net effortlessly and tossed it aside. "There's a problem with the tracker and the weapon," the leader muttered. "Captain, let me handle it. She shouldn't be able to fight now." One of the men with a scar strode over to Lin Yen. The scar-faced man strode over to Lin Yen and said coldly, "Are you going to surrender or do I have to do it?" Lin Yen stood rooted to the ground as she searched for something in her pocket. "It seems that you are indeed very stubborn." The scar-faced man sneered. Lin Yen rummaged in her pocket for a moment before her cold eyes met the scarred man's. "Is there a fire?" Lin Yen replied softly. "Courting death." The scar-faced man was infuriated by the girl's nonchalant attitude. He raised his hand and punched Lin Yen. Bang! There was a muffled sound. Everyone watched in disbelief as the scar-faced man fainted. However, no one had seen Lin Yen make a move. Lin Yen had one hand on the unconscious man's left shoulder while the other was rummaging through his pocket. Lin Yen retrieved a cigarette and a lighter from the man's pocket. A second later, Lin Yen tossed the scar-faced man into the sea. Chapter 246. Lin Yen stood rooted to the ground, fiddling with the lighter in her hand casually. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. In the dark night, the cigarette was lit, and the smoke lingered in the air. Lin Yen stood rooted to the ground as her cold eyes swept across the crowd. All the men and women who met Lin Yan's eyes instinctively averted their eyes. However, for some reason, an inexplicable pressure made their hearts race and their hearts turn cold. Even the leader of the group looked uneasy when he saw Lin Yan's cold, emotionless eyes. The middle-aged man glared at Lin Yan and sneered coldly. "I have underestimated you. I didn't expect you to still be able to fight. Captain, let's end this quickly. Someone in the team is injured." One of the young men glanced at the scar-faced man who had just been fished out of the sea. "Besides, I feel that there's something strange about this woman. I'm not sure if I'm imagining things. The tracker sounded an alarm just now, as well as the changes in the 3S body. Perhaps there really is a 3S body nearby. We shouldn't stay here any longer." The leader pondered for a moment before he nodded. Then, he raised his arm. A second later, Lin Yen was surrounded by everyone once again. However, the warning of the tracker on the man's body was getting more and more piercing to the ears. The man frowned at the tracker and switched it off. Lin Yen stood rooted to the ground, not moving at all. She looked as though she was looking down on a bunch of clowns. F***CK. She's just a Class A body. How dare she look down on us? One of the young men, who was infuriated by Lin Yan's haughty and aloof demeanor, cursed loudly. "Break her arms and legs. Make her kneel and beg for mercy." Ha ha ha. How can she kneel and beg if her arms and legs are broken? If that doesn't work, she can crawl on the ground and beg for mercy. Lin Yen remained unmoved in the face of everyone's mockery. She continued fiddling with the lighter in her right hand. "You really have a death wish." As soon as he finished speaking, several young men and women punched at Lin Yen. These people's fists were extremely heavy. If one were to be hit head-on, not to mention one's flesh and blood, even a boulder would be smashed into pieces. Swish! Suddenly, Lin Yen, who had been motionless all this while, moved. Lin Yen didn't move an inch. Instead, she flicked the lighter in her hand casually. The moment the machine was launched, it was like an arrow leaving the bow. Its speed was so fast that it drew an arc in the air. Then, with a soft bang, the young man at the front was hit in the face by the lighter. Almost at the same time, the lighter exploded. The fragments of the lighter pierced into the young man's flesh, and the impact of the projectile sent the young man flying several meters away. "My face." The young man's eyes were bloodshot as he glared at Lin Yen viciously. If looks could kill, Lin Yen would have died 1,000,000 times. Immediately, the remaining young men and women looked at each other. Using a lighter to injure someone? Chapter 247. Let's attack together. There's no need to hold back, said the leader coldly. Swoosh. At the man's command, one of the young ladies threw a punch at Lin Yen with unimaginable force. Her punch pierced through the air, producing a whooshing sound. Lin Yen glanced at the young woman who had thrown a punch at her. However, Lin Yen didn't do anything. A second later, the young woman wailed in pain. Her face was contorted in agony, and her head hit the beach as she fainted. Following that, there was an incessant plop sound. The young men and women were flung into the sea like pieces of paper in the wind. Captain. In a moment of desperation, the remaining young men and women hurriedly looked at the man in the lead. The man sneered coldly and swung his fist at Lin Yen. However, Lin Yen, who hadn't moved a single step, raised a finger in front of her. Ha ha ha. You're so cute, the leader cackled maniacally as his eyes gleamed with bloodlust. A Class A had used a finger to block a Class S's attack. How was that any different from courting death? Boom. A second later, a deafening sound was heard from the beach. The young men and women's eyes widened when they saw Lin Yen. The smile on the leader's face froze as he stared at Lin Yen in disbelief. Not only had this woman blocked his attack with a finger, but she had also caused his entire body to go numb. This is impossible. The man shook his head, looking horrified. It must be a lie. Without giving the man a chance to react, Lin Yen pinched his neck with her thumb and index finger and lifted him into the air as the man stared at her in horror. No matter how hard the man struggled, he couldn't escape Lin Yan's hand. It was as though a mountain was pressing down on him, making it hard for him to breathe. At this moment, the leader's entire body was drenched in cold sweat. As he stared at the completely different girl in front of him, a trace of fear appeared in his eyes. No. Impossible. Class A. Impossible. The man stared at Lin Yen, looking as though he had lost control of his emotions. However, the young lady before him did not say a word. Her entire being was like a 10,000-year-old glacier, so cold that one would find it hard to breathe and want to escape. As the man spoke, he could clearly sense that Lin Yan's strength was getting more and more frightening. In at most a few breaths of time, the man's face was flushed red, and then he fainted on the spot. A second later, Lin Yen tossed the man's limp body aside. A moment later, Lin Yen stubbed out the cigarette and slipped it into her pocket. Then, she left the beach without looking back. Gulp, gulp. After Lin Yen disappeared, the stutterer reached out with both hands and crawled out of the water. Lulu. The handsome stutterer sized up Lin Yen for a long time. Chapter 248. At that moment, Lin Yen was walking on an unknown path. Soon, the girl's eyes turned from indifference to confusion before they regained clarity. Lin Yen shuddered and instinctively scanned her surroundings. Lin Yen was dumbfounded. Where was the beach? And, the young men and women who had tried to capture her were nowhere to be seen. Lin Yen frowned. Was her illness acting up again? All she could remember was that she had been entangled by something similar to an electric net. Then, all sorts of messy images appeared in her mind. She had no recollection of what had happened after that. The beach wasn't too far away. Lin Yen scanned her surroundings. She was on a small path that was deserted, especially at night. Soon, Lin Yen felt dizzy. She couldn't care less about her image and found a place to sit down. She didn't know why, but her body felt limp, as though all her energy had been sucked out of her. Moreover, her head was throbbing. Lin Yen felt as though she was drunk. Besides the throbbing pain in her head, she also felt dizzy. She couldn't remember what had happened earlier. At the beach, the young men and women had used all their strength to climb out of the water. Their bodies were drenched, and their faces were pale. Their bodies were trembling uncontrollably, especially the leader, who had regained consciousness. His eyes were filled with fear. Everything that the person with a grade A constitution had shown was completely beyond their understanding. How could a mere Class A constitution be so terrifying? Captain, inform the higher-ups. That woman is too terrifying. We can't handle her. One of the young women told the leader. She didn't kill us. This is unbelievable. I thought that I would die today. The man with the scar shuddered at the thought of what had happened. How could there be such a terrifying woman? Isn't she a Class A constitution? The leader's face was dark and gloomy as he gritted his teeth. Inform the higher-ups. The leader bellowed coldly. Captain, let's go. If that woman comes back, we'll be in danger. I know a small path. Let's take a detour. Damn it. We're so unlucky to have met a monster. The few of them carried the man and staggered towards the small path. After walking for a short while, the scar-faced man saw a person sitting in the middle of the road. The person's head was tilted as if he was thinking about something. Get lost. The scar-faced man was already in a bad mood. Seeing someone sitting in the middle of the road blocking his way, he casually scolded. Lin Yen, who was still trying to figure out what had happened, was pulled back to reality by the man with the scar. Instinctively, she turned around and stared at him. The moment Lin Yen turned her head, the scar-faced man saw her face clearly under the moonlight. Hiss! In almost an instant, the scarred man gasped and retreated a few steps in the opposite direction until he staggered and fell to the ground. Lin Yen instinctively froze when she saw the group of young men and women, who were dripping with seawater. She immediately stood up, her eyes filled with wariness. Where did this group of people come from? Why were they so persistent, chasing him wherever he went? Chapter 249. You. It's you. The scar-faced man pointed at Lin Yen in horror as he struggled to crawl away. He wished that his parents had given him a few more legs to crawl away. You're haunting me. Lin Yan's eyes glinted coldly. She didn't give the man a chance to speak. She dashed forward and raised her leg to kick the man's face. The man was sent flying by Lin Yan's kick. He spun like a spinning top and rolled to the man's feet. He didn't even have time to scream in pain before he yelled at the man and the young men and women, "Run! That woman is blocking our way. She wants to kill us." Ah! As the scarred man's voice fell, everyone's expression changed, including the leader. Everyone followed the direction of the scar-faced man's gaze and looked forward. Don't come over. Don't come over. The man stared at Lin Yen, who was fuming with anger. Lin Yen was speechless. What was going on? She wasn't a match for so many people. Shouldn't she be the one running away? Logically speaking, shouldn't these people be searching for her and trying to capture her? However, Lin Yen couldn't understand why they looked at her as though she was a ghost. Anger, shame, fear, and panic, their expressions were as though a bottle of condiments had been knocked over. Lin Yan's expression was strange as she tried to walk forward. When Lin Yen took a step forward, the young men and women retreated a few steps. What are you doing? What do you want? One of the young women screamed at Lin Yen. What do you want? Lin Yen glared at them coldly. She didn't know them at all, but they had attacked her first. They had even used the electric fence to electrocute her and almost electrocuted her. Although she couldn't remember what had happened after that, it was possible that she had lost control of herself and escaped from the electric net. She hadn't expected that these people would chase after her. Was she that valuable? Everyone felt as though they had swallowed a fly when they heard Lin Yan's words. On the beach, beat the crap out of every single one of them, and almost killed them. Not only that, he even blocked their way in this godforsaken place. He didn't want to give them a way out, and now this pervert was asking them what they wanted. What do they want? Do they want their parents to give them a few more legs so that they can run faster? Don't come any closer. If you come any closer, we won't be polite anymore. The man with the scar broke out in cold sweat as he bellowed at Lin Yen. You're welcome. Lin Yen grinned at Scarface's words. Had they ever been polite? However, Lin Yen was puzzled by their behavior. Earlier on, they had been so fierce and threatening to kill her. Now, they were behaving as though they had seen the King of Hell. Could it be that I really didn't control myself earlier and completely lost control? It's a misunderstanding. Stand there and don't move. Yes, stay this distance away from us. Let me explain to you. This is all a misunderstanding. The leader yelled at the expressionless Lin Yen. Oh. Lin Yen eyed the man and sneered coldly. Tell me, what misunderstanding is there? Chapter 250. Although Lin Yen didn't know what had happened, she could tell from their attitude that they were afraid of her. Lin Yen was puzzled as well. Every time she lost control, she would wake up with some relevant memories. However, this time, there were no memories at all. Logically speaking, she shouldn't have lost control. However, if they weren't completely under her control, why would these people, especially their leader, be so fearful of her? Actually, we found the wrong person. We didn't look for you. We apologize to you. Is that okay? The leader glared at Lin Yen and gritted his teeth. However, he was all smiles. Misunderstanding? Lin Yen frowned. Did he think that she was a fool? Although she couldn't remember what had happened after that, she hadn't forgotten what had happened. They had used a tracker to detect her level and wanted to kidnap her for money. However, given their current state, she might be able to get some answers. The man was about to say something when Lin Yen interrupted him impatiently. Cut the crap. I'm asking you where my brother is. Huh? Everyone was taken aback by Lin Yen's question. Where was her brother? Who was her brother? Who knew this freak's brother? They didn't even know who she was, let alone her brother. Madam, we really don't know your brother. We don't even know who you are. The leader stared at Lin Yen as he spoke hastily. They had already experienced how terrifying this woman was. All they wanted now was to stay alive. You don't know me? Lin Yen glanced at them and sneered coldly. Do you really think I'm a fool? No. You've misunderstood. If any of us knew or captured your brother, we would be struck by lightning. The scar-faced man replied hastily. You captured my brother? Lin Yan's expression changed instantly. The scar-faced man was speechless, the leader was speechless. Did this perverted woman choose to listen to others? Who had captured her brother? Who are you? Why did you attack me? Lin Yen glared at them. The scar-faced man was just about to speak when his expression changed slightly. He seemed to realize something and quickly shut his mouth, not saying another word. Run. The leader glared at Lin Yen and gritted his teeth. Then, he bellowed at everyone. In an instant, several young men and women moved almost at the same time and fled towards the back. Lin Yen instinctively wanted to chase after him. However, just as he opened his legs, he felt that something was wrong. If he really chased after them, he wouldn't be able to defeat them with so many people and an electric fence. Moreover, she didn't even know who those people were. Chasing after them rashly was definitely not a wise move. Even a cornered dog would jump over a wall, let alone a human. Lin Yen could only watch helplessly as the group of people fled. After some rest, she felt more awake. She wanted to take out her phone to check the time, but there was nothing else in her pocket. Lin Yen stared at the extinguished cigarette butt and fell into deep thought. The next 5 chapters were updated on the 5th. Ha Zhong's 88 yuan cash packet was titled The Coolness of Drinking Hot Water at Second Awkward's House. Below this chapter, 3 of the babies had chosen the same custom canvas bag as Lin Yan's. I'm begging for votes. Chapter 251. Lin Yen stared at the cigarette in her hand with a strange expression on her face. The cigarette had indeed come from her pocket. However, she didn't smoke, so why would there be a cigarette? Lin Yen didn't think too much about it. She turned around and left. It was already late at night when she returned to the old mansion. He Lufeng was the only one left in the living room. "Sister Yen, where did you go? Why are you back so late?" He Lufeng glanced at Lin Yen. "I went to the beach to enjoy the breeze." Lin Yen grinned at He Lufeng. Lin Yen had no intention of telling anyone about what had happened that night. There was no need for her to. The elimination competition would be held the next morning. As He Lufeng's navigator, Lin Yen would be staying at the old mansion tonight. "Xiaofeng, why aren't you sleeping yet?" Lin Yen glanced at He Lufeng. "Sister Yen, I'm a little nervous." He Lufeng glanced at Lin Yen and sighed softly. He Lufeng wasn't confident at all about tomorrow's elimination competition. "It's fine. Relax." Lin Yen smiled at He Lufeng. "Sister Yen." He Lufeng shook his head. "Sister Yen, you might not know much about racing teams. Actually, given the He family team's capabilities, it will be very difficult for us to beat the two teams tomorrow. In the beginning, the He family team had some racers and famous navigators. They had been able to compete in competitions of all sizes. However, those navigators and racers had left the He family team because of its decline. They had jumped ship and joined other teams. The He family team couldn't withstand a single blow. They could only be considered the last team. "Xiaofeng, we haven't competed yet. No one can predict the outcome, right?" Lin Yen glanced at He Lufeng with a smile. "Sister Yen, it's mainly because I'm too weak and my mentality isn't good. I'm afraid that I'll drag Brother Mingkai down and implicate the entire team. If the team disbands." He Lufeng frowned. Lin Yen was speechless. Actually, Lin Yen could understand He Lufeng's worries. After all, tomorrow's competition was very important to the He family team. If they lost, they might be forced to disband. "Oh yeah. Sister Yen, I've been watching the international competition recently." Suddenly, He Lufeng turned to the television in the living room. At that moment, the International League was being broadcasted on the television. Racing cars were racing past. "This is the second level of the international competition," replied Lin Yen instinctively. He Lufeng was startled. "Sister Yen, do you know about the second level of the international competition?" Lin Yen nodded and replied, "Yeah. I know a little. This is the match that made God Lang Mang famous." He Lufeng grinned. "Sister Yen, look. That red car is so cool. Lang Mang is the apprentice of the racetrack's Grim Reaper, Yeva." "It's pretty impressive," replied Lin Yen. "I heard that there are plans to produce a series of racing movies set in the second level of the World Championship. The main character will be Lang Mang." "Huh?" Lin Yen was taken aback. "Lang Mang is going to film a movie?" "It's not Lang Mang's movie. The main character will be based on Lang Mang. All that's left is the casting of the racetrack's Grim Reaper, Yeva. I heard that the producers created a race between the racetrack's Grim Reaper and Lang Mang. It's definitely worth looking forward to." "It's a pity that the racetrack's Grim Reaper hasn't been decided yet," replied He Lufeng. Chapter 252. Lin Yen sat on the couch and munched on an apple. She stared blankly at He Lufeng, who was visibly excited. Why hadn't she heard about this? According to He Lufeng, Lang Mang would be the main character of the movie. The racetrack's Grim Reaper would be used as a publicity stunt. The racetrack's Grim Reaper had appeared during the competition to compete with her disciple, Lang Mang. Even so, shouldn't the producers have informed the racetrack's Grim Reaper herself? She had been banned from competing. Even if the producers wanted to look for her, they wouldn't be able to find her. Lin Yan reckoned that Lang Mang must have made the decision on his own. He must have agreed to let the producers use him and his master, the racetrack's Grim Reaper. However, what was the point of using the name of feelings? She didn't seem to be dead yet, right? Lin Yan's mind conjured up a scene in an instant. Lang Mang had put in a lot of effort to clinch the championship on the track. As the sun was setting, Lang Mang hugged his helmet and looked dejected. He was thinking about his master, the racetrack's Grim Reaper. The setting sun cast a golden glow on the track as Lang Mang walked towards his car. At that moment, the racetrack's Grim Reaper, Yave, appeared. Lang Mang's eyes brimmed with tears when he saw his master. In the end, the two of them had competed on the track. Lin Yan was speechless. Why did she feel like she was dead? What was going on? She couldn't act like this. Besides, who could play the role of the racetrack's Grim Reaper? She couldn't ruin her image. As Lin Yan was lost in her thoughts, He Lifeng tugged at her sleeve. Sister Yan, look. Lin Yan glanced over at the television. The first level of the international competition was playing on the screen. A silver car sped across the track and reached the finish line. A second later, the crowd erupted. Yeva, Yave, Ove, all the audience stood up at the same time and looked at the silver defending king. At that moment, Lin Yan's eyes flickered with an inexplicable emotion. It was her personal car, Silver Starry Sky. The door opened and the racetrack's Grim Reaper, who was dressed in a silver uniform, stepped out of the car and waved her hands in greeting. She's so cool. Oh my God. She's so cool. Suddenly, He Lifeng leaped up from the sofa, his eyes filled with excitement. Sister Yan, did you see that? That's Lang Mang's master. Yeva isn't just Lang Mang. Death Butcher is also her disciple. He Lifeng exclaimed excitedly. Lin Yan replied, all right. Stop jumping around. The sofa is going to fall apart. Sister Yan, if I can race against the racetrack's Grim Reaper. No, if I can race against any of Yeva's disciples, I will die without any regrets, He Lifeng replied. All the best. One day, your wish will come true. Lin Yan grinned. He Lifeng shook his head. It's too difficult. People like us are nothing in their eyes. Lin Yan stood up and turned to He Lifeng. Hurry up and get some rest. I promise you that you'll be full of energy tomorrow. If you're eliminated tomorrow, it'll be meaningless for you to run with them. Lin Yan walked to the guest room and waved at He Lifeng. Sister Yan. Hold on. He Lifeng suddenly called out to her. Chapter 253. He Lifeng stood on the couch as his eyes trailed to the television. The racetrack's Grim Reaper had emerged from the silver starry sky. Then, he studied Lin Yan. He Lifeng's expression became more and more strange. That's weird. Why do I feel that something is amiss? He Lifeng stared at Lin Yan as he muttered to himself. What's wrong? Lin Yan stared at He Lifeng in confusion. He had stopped her but hadn't said a word. Sister Yan, I just realized it. Look at the racetrack's Grim Reaper. Don't you think she has a similar figure to you? Other than being slightly taller than you, everything about her is the same. He Lifeng exclaimed. Lin Yan was speechless. Slightly taller than her? That was because the helmet was taller. If she removed the helmet, He Lifeng would realize that even their facial features were the same. Wash up and go to bed. Lin Yan sighed and turned to leave. Sister Yan, they really look alike. He Lifeng's voice rang out. Lin Yan lay on the bed in the guest room, feeling a myriad of emotions. Too many things had happened in the past few years. Lin Yan reckoned that her experiences could be written into a book full of twists and turns. Especially today, the stutterer and the group of people who had chased after him. Lin Yan had no idea who they were or if they had anything to do with the laboratory. Actually, what bothered Lin Yan was that the leader of the group of people had announced that he wanted to sell her for money. If they had been ordinary people, Lin Yan would have understood that they had to be human traffickers. However, those people weren't ordinary people. They had even carried some sort of device that could detect her physique. Could they be bounty hunters? Lin Yan lay on the bed with a frown on her face. After tossing and turning in bed, Lin Yan finally made a call. Lin Yan explained everything that had happened that day in detail. Your guess is correct. Soon, a voice sounded from the phone. Actually, there are many organizations like this that specialize in hunting down people with special constitutions. The people who are hunting them are also people with special constitutions. Most of the organizations above them are very mysterious, and their networks are complicated. If you encounter such people in the future, try to stay away from them. Could my brother be related to them? Asked Lin Yan anxiously. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be any connection. After she hung up, Lin Yan lay in bed and tried to recall everything that had happened that day. After being restricted by the net, many images that did not belong to her memories appeared in her mind. Vaguely, she even heard a sorrowful voice calling her mother. She had even hugged him to sleep. Lin Yan couldn't help but shudder at the thought of this. There had to be something wrong with her. The next day, early morning. Lin Yan woke up early. His mother, He Muyun, had prepared breakfast. Xiaoyan, brush your teeth and wash your face before you eat. He Muyun removed her apron and instructed Lin Yan. Lin Yan nodded and headed to the dining table after washing up. Before long, He Dingkuan, He Xiong, and He Mingkai walked out of their rooms. He Mingkai glanced at Lin Yan. If you drag Mingkai down today, this family won't tolerate you anymore. Before Lin Yan could respond, He Xiong stepped forward and said coldly, ZH1 and Storm's boss, Pei Yutong, are here for Mingkai. Don't embarrass him. Chapter 254. Big brother, Xiaoyan doesn't know much about racing. She was just helping out. How could you say that? He Muyun glanced at He Xiong with a frown. He. If you don't know anything, just stay at home. Why did you go to the racetrack? Let me tell you, the top teams in the country and their sponsors are all there. If anything goes wrong because of you, I will make sure you suffer. If it wasn't for Mingkai, why would a team like ZH1 and Pei Yutong care about such a small race? Why would they come to cheer for Mingkai? He Xiong sneered coldly at He Muyun's silence. Mingkai has brought glory and hope to this family and the team. You have to listen to Mingkai on the track. Dad, why are you talking to them? What do they know? He Mingkai glanced at Lin Yan and He Muyun with disdain. Enough. What's with the ruckus? He Dingkuan barked. Dad, I'm telling the truth. If it hadn't been for Mingkai, ZH1 and Storm's boss, Pei Yutong, wouldn't have bothered with our small team, He Xiong whispered to He Dingkuan. The old master didn't respond. Instead, his eyes darted to He Mingkai. He Dingkuan turned to He Mingkai. Xiao Kai, you've made a huge contribution this time. You have to perform well on the track. Even if you lose this race, as long as you perform well, you might still have a chance to join a top team like ZH1. Grandfather, don't worry. As long as someone doesn't drag us down, I can't guarantee that we will win. However, even if we lose, we will lose beautifully. He Mingkai nodded at He Dingkuan. Lin Yan glanced at He Xiong and He Mingkai. This pair of father and son really didn't know what was going on. However, Lin Yan couldn't be bothered with them. She only had one goal, and that was to protect her grandfather's team. She couldn't be bothered with anything else. After breakfast, Lin Yan and the He family headed to the racetrack. The track this time was different from the one she had used against Speed. Previously, Lin Yan and Speed had competed on a track. The so-called field race was to race on a designated route in a built racetrack. On the other hand, non-arena races were held in the wilderness. The road conditions were very complicated, so the existence of a navigator was needed. The venue for the competition this time was in the outskirts of the imperial capital. The venue was very large, and most of it was a combination of mountain roads. A B-class outdoor racetrack. He Lufeng's expression was unnatural as he surveyed the racetrack. In the past, most of the outdoor competitions that He Lufeng had participated in were C-class venues. Although He Lufeng had been to a C-level venue a few times, it hadn't been ideal. In addition, his navigator wasn't professional enough, so there were many situations that would occur. All of you, remember this. At that moment, He Xiong walked over with He Mingkai. He Xiong said coldly, when the race starts, you guys will be in charge of blocking the cars of the other two teams. Make sure that Mingkai is always at the front, understand? Lin Yan was about to say something when He Lufeng nodded and said hastily, okay. Sister Yan and I will do our best to ensure that Brother Kai's journey is smooth. Lin Yan was speechless. Also, she's just here to make up the numbers. Don't listen to her. She doesn't know anything. He Xiong glanced at Lin Yan. Update has ended. Moi, the ones with the middle canvas bag are scrambled eggs with tomatoes, Little Red Riding Hood, and only half an orange. Today, I will continue to draw 3 and get a free canvas bag looking for recommendations and monthly votes. Chapter 255. He Lufeng glanced at He Xiong and replied softly, Big Uncle, Sister Yan and I will do our best. After He Xiong left, Lin Yan and He Lufeng sat down and watched the He family team conduct the pre-race inspection. There isn't any good equipment, Lin Yan muttered softly after a few glances. He Lufeng looked slightly awkward. Sister Yan, it's all right. Although we can't compare to the big teams, we have the basics. Lin Yan couldn't help but facepalm. If they didn't even have basic equipment, how could they compete? What did basic equipment mean? Sister Yan, other than equipment, the racer's judgment and skills are also crucial, quipped He Lufeng. Lin Yan grinned when she heard that. Other than the auxiliary equipment, the most important thing was the racing car. However, how bad could a car that could meet the standards of a racing car be? As long as the difference wasn't too great, the technical skills would be enough to make up for it. Xiaofeng, Xiaoyan, come down. He Dinkuan called out to Lin Yan. Lin Yan and He Lufeng nodded when they heard the old master's words. They stood up at the same time and walked to the arena. Xiaofeng, here's your uniform. Old Master He Dinkuan handed a silver uniform to He Lufeng. Flame-resistant shoes, a mask, gloves, and a helmet. Check it yourself and pass it to Xiaoyan, He Dinkuan instructed. Grandfather, I got it. He Lufeng squatted down and inspected the equipment carefully. He Lufeng put on the silver uniform and glanced at Lin Yan. Sister Yan, my previous navigator was a man. I don't think you'll be able to use his equipment. A few days ago, Grandfather customized a set for you. I'll get it for you later. Okay. Lin Yan nodded. Lin Yan's eyes trailed to He Lufeng's uniform, and a strange look appeared in her eyes. Xiaofeng, our uniform. Why does it look so familiar? Asked Lin Yan. Other than the logo, the He family team's uniform was similar to the one she had worn before. If one didn't look carefully, it would be easy to mistake it for her. He Lufeng chuckled when he heard Lin Yan. Sister Yan, you must find it familiar. You saw it last night. We met last night? Lin Yan was puzzled. Yeah. He Lufeng nodded and explained, didn't we watch the video last night? Yeva, the racetrack's Grim Reaper, wore this uniform. Lin Yan was speechless. She was right. Haha. Sister Yan, you have no idea. Actually, our uniform is very popular in the domestic circle. Many teams, big and small, like to wear it. He Lufeng grinned. Lin Yan wasn't familiar with the racing scene in the country. Ever since the racetrack's Grim Reaper won the first level of the international competition, silver uniforms have become popular. Her disciples, like Lang Mang and Death Butcher, have all been wearing silver uniforms, explained He Lifeng. Are you done with your nonsense? Before Lin Yan could respond, He Xiong and He Mingkai strode forward. She's just here to make up the numbers. You've told her so much. What does she know? What a waste of time. Hurry up and check your car. He Xiong waved his hand impatiently. Chapter 256. He Lifeng slapped his forehead when he heard He Xiong. He had been so engrossed in chatting with Sister Yan that he had forgotten to check the car. Sister Yan, this silver car is my car. He Lifeng grinned at Lin Yan as he stood beside the silver car. Lin Yan was speechless. Why did this car look so much like her silver starry sky? Xiaofeng, don't you have a professional car inspector? Lin Yan glanced at He Lifeng. It was rare for racers to inspect their cars before a race. Even if they did, they would do so after a professional inspection. We used to, but the He family team is facing a financial problem. Grandfather said that we should save as much as we can. Anyway, there's no problem. Although we aren't professionals, we can tell if there's a problem, replied He Lifeng. Lin Yan nodded. The He family team was indeed poor. Sister Yan, this car looks familiar, right? Actually, grandfather is a loyal fan of Lang Mang and Death Butcher. He especially admires the racetrack's Grim Reaper, Yeva. That's why the He family team's car and uniform look very much like the racetrack's Grim Reaper. He Lifeng grinned. Really? Lin Yan stroked her chin. She was so influential, even her grandfather was a loyal fan of hers. Besides, Lin Yan had never imagined that Lang Mang, Butcher, and the rest of the naughty kids would be so influential. Lang Mang, in particular, had even started to use him as a model for a movie. Sister Yan, what do you think of my car? He Lifeng wiped the sweat off his face and grinned at Lin Yan. Lin Yan instinctively sized up He Lifeng's silver car. Are you going to tell the truth or lie? Lin Yan asked. Air. He Lifeng was taken aback. He hadn't expected Lin Yan to say that. Why don't I tell a lie first? A lie? Lin Yan chuckled softly as she circled He Lifeng's car. Your car is the best in the He family team. The engine is almost perfect. He Lifeng was speechless. Then tell the truth. He Lifeng pressed on. What lousy car? Lin Yan replied calmly. Sister Yan, it's not bad. He Lifeng sounded indignant. He Mingkai's car is the best. The others aren't as good. Your car is the worst, quipped Lin Yan. Brother Mingkai's skills are the best, and his overall strength is also the strongest. That's understandable. He Lifeng grinned. Sister Yan, do you want to join the He family team? I noticed that you're interested in racing. If you're interested, I can take you in as my apprentice and teach you the basics. He Lifeng grinned at Lin Yan before she could respond. Lin Yan sighed when she heard He Lifeng. I can consider it. It's a pity that Brother Mingkai is prejudiced against you, Sister Yan. Otherwise, he would have taught you. I'm sure I would be the best. He Lifeng pondered this for a moment. Lin Yan was speechless. Thank you. Sister Yan, here's your equipment. He Lifeng opened the door and handed her a silver uniform. Lin Yan took the silver uniform and thanked He Lifeng. Chapter 257. Grandfather, what's wrong? He Lifeng strode over to the old master and asked. Xiaofeng, help Mingkai check the car, He Dingkuan instructed. He Dingkuan had pinned too much hope on He Mingkai this time, so he had to make sure that nothing went wrong. Okay. He Lufeng agreed and walked briskly to He Mingkai's side. Then, he started to check his car. Lin Yan, who had nothing better to do, glanced at He Mingkai's car. Xiaofeng, is my car okay? He Mingkai took off his gloves and dusted his hands as he asked He Lufeng. Yes, it's fine. The car is in good condition. He Lufeng nodded. Don't worry, Mingkai. I've checked it. It's fine. A young man with a buzz cut chuckled. Alright, that's good, He Dingkuan replied. Lin Yan, who had been silent all this while, glanced at He Dingkuan and said without hesitation, Grandfather, the pressure on the left rear tire is too high. It's easy for it to explode. What? Everyone, including He Lufeng, was startled by Lin Yan's words. The pressure was too high. It was easy for the tires to explode? How could she tell? What nonsense are you talking about? The young man with the buzz cut was enraged. Lufeng, who is this woman? What nonsense is she spouting? The young man asked He Lufeng. Brotherly, this is my cousin. Lin Yan is my navigator today, He Lufeng explained. He Lufeng turned to Lin Yan. Sister Yan, this is Brother Li Rong. He is Brother Mingkai's navigator. Oh, the pressure on the left rear tire is a little high. Forget it if you don't believe me. Lin Yan shrugged. Li Rong's face darkened as he opened the car door and turned on the electricity. There was a pressure indicator on the dashboard. Li Rong glanced at the dashboard and quipped, the dashboard is normal. Lin Yan replied, then the dashboard must be broken. Shut up. He Xiong suddenly bellowed at Lin Yan. You don't know anything. What are you talking about? Wait. She's He Lufeng's navigator. Li Rong frowned. She doesn't know anything. How can she be a navigator? Won't she be harming He Lufeng? Don't worry about her. Lufeng's navigator ran away. She's just here to make up the numbers. He Xiong looked impatient. TSK. Li Rong glanced at Lin Yan and shook his head. I did warn you. It's up to you whether you believe me or not. Lin Yan shrugged. She was merely concerned about her grandfather's team. Lin Yan yawned and turned to walk to He Lufeng's silver car. She got into the passenger seat and started to change. At that moment, He Xiong's phone rang. The staff informed him that ZH1 and Storm's boss, Pei Yutong, had arrived. Alright, I got it. Arrange for them to rest in the VIP lounge. Mingkai and I will go and welcome them immediately. After He Xiong hung up the phone, he walked outside with Elder Sheng and He Mingkai. In the VIP lounge. Godzi glanced at Pei Yutong and asked uncertainly, Miss Lin Yan, will she really participate in this kind of competition? Godzi had been astonished when he had received Pei Yutong's call. Given Lin Yan's standards, why would she be interested in such a competition? Of course. Pei Yutong replied hastily. The old master of the He family team is her grandfather. He Mingkai seems to be her cousin. Chapter 258. Miss Lin Yan's cousin? ZH1's Mumu nodded. So Miss Lin Yan is from a racing family. No wonder she is so good. Her cousin must be pretty good as well. Pei Yutong replied, I don't know. Anyway, the He family team is at the bottom of the rankings. If they were really that good, how could they achieve such results? I don't think they are that good. Otherwise, Sister Yan wouldn't have come to save them. The moment he finished speaking, He Xiong, He Mingkai, and the others pushed the door open and entered. Welcome. The old master, He Dingkuan, spoke when he saw the ZH1 team and Pei Yutong. He Dingkuan had never imagined that He Mingkai would be so capable that even ZH1's entire team would be there. Hello. Godzi stepped forward and shook He Dingkuan's hand. Everyone, please take a seat. He Dinkuan grinned. Pei Yutong and the others nodded and sat down. Ha ha. You must be God Z. I've heard a lot about you. ZH1 is very famous in our country. Minkai often watches your competitions. I didn't expect to see you in person today. He Xiong chuckled. Dad, I'm old friends with God Z and young Master Tang. He Minkai said. Old friends? Upon hearing this, Mumu, God Z and the rest were taken aback. They didn't seem to know this man. He is Sister Yan's cousin. His name is He Minkai, Pei Yutong whispered to God Z. Oh, I see. God Z nodded in acknowledgement. It's an honor for all of you to come here personally for Minkai. God Z, you can watch Minkai's performance later. He Xiong grinned at God Z. Oh, okay. God Z looked a little awkward. Mumu and the other ZH1 members were puzzled. Why had they come here personally for He Minkai? They had come to watch Lin Yan's performance. However, He Minkai was Lin Yan's cousin after all, so they couldn't say anything. God Z, you must have watched my Minkai's competition. Do you think he is qualified to be a substitute on the ZH1 team? He Xiong changed the topic with a smile. God Z, he had never seen it before. It's okay. God Z smiled awkwardly. As they spoke, the TV screen in the VIP room suddenly turned on. On the screen was an entire wild racetrack, which was taken by a drone and transmitted to the VIP lounge in real time. God Z focused his eyes and saw a girl in a silver uniform standing beside a silver car. It was Lin Yan. Minkai, it's about time. Let's head to the arena first, He Xiong said to He Minkai after a while. He Minkai nodded in response. You guys can stay here and watch the match. Let Minkai and the rest compete first. He Dinkuan smiled. Alright, you guys go ahead. Mumu nodded. After they left, Mumu frowned. That's not right. I don't think Miss Lin is a racer. Could it be a navigator? God Z was taken aback. That can't be. What's going on? Pei Yutong was puzzled as well. This was different from what he had expected. F***CK. That kid is He Lefeng, the weakest racer in the He family team. Sister Yan is his navigator? Pei Yutong was dumbfounded. Pei Yutong and the rest of the ZH1 team fell silent. Was the He family team stupid? If Lin Yan participated in this competition, how was she different from a bug? Why would they let her be a navigator? Chapter 259. In the VIP room, He Xiong sent He Minkai back to the venue before he returned. When God saw the old master and He Xiong, he pointed at Lin Yan with an odd expression on his face. Is she He Lefeng's navigator? He Dinkuan nodded and replied, yes. God and ZH1's team members looked even more perplexed when they heard this. What kind of competition strategy was this? Why couldn't they understand it at all? They had learned a little about the He family team's competition. This was an elimination round. If they lost, the He family team would have to disband. Besides, the He family team's two opponents were Old Tang's team and Lightning's team. Old Tang's team was the strongest. The He family team had lost to Old Tang's team more than once. In fact, they had never won. If Lin Yan were to compete, there wouldn't be any worries or suspense. She would be able to win even with her eyes closed. However, the He family team had chosen Lin Yan to be He Lefeng's navigator. What kind of mentality was this? Was the He family team going to disband? A navigator and a racer were two different things. No matter how good Lin Yan was, she wouldn't be able to lead the He family team to victory. Actually, God glanced at He Dinkuan and He Xiong, hesitating to speak. God. What are you trying to say? Asked He Dinkuan curiously. Yes, I think so. A racer and a navigator are two different concepts. A navigator needs a very professional to be a navigator. So, I don't think it's appropriate for her to be a navigator, God kindly reminded her. He Xiong chimed in, God, there's something you don't know. We had no choice. He Lufeng's navigator left the He family team a few days ago, so we couldn't find anyone to replace him. We had to find someone else to fill in the gaps. Huh? Pei Yutong was dumbfounded. He had found someone else to fill in the gaps. F***CK. Awesome. That's awesome. I'm impressed. Pei Yutong gave He Xiong a thumbs up. He had found a random person to replace Lin Yan, who had defeated several members of PP's team. Why didn't the He family team ascend to heaven? He could accept that the He family team was as good as the Grim Reaper racetrack. However, a team that was on the verge of disbanding had asked Lin Yan to be their navigator. Other than giving him a thumbs up in admiration, what else could he say? You guys might have misunderstood the captain's meaning, Moo said awkwardly. What God meant was that Lin Yan wasn't suitable to be a navigator because she was too capable. She could win just by racing. Hence, the navigator should be a professional. How could they let a racer, who could control the outcome of a race, take on the role? If that happened, the He family team would be disbanded. I know what God means, but please rest assured. He Xiong chuckled. My son, He Mingkai, will be the main force in this competition. He Lufeng and his navigator are just there to support him. There won't be any problems. God won everyone. Pei Yutong, the review event might end at the end of the month, so everyone should seize the opportunity to participate. I would like to organize a few more long-term events, such as the active ranking or continuous voting. Do you guys have any better suggestions? Chapter 260. The ZH1 members turned to look at He Xiong. Moo opened his mouth, as though he wanted to say something. However, he swallowed his words in the end. He had no idea how to respond to the He family's generosity. Captain, is there something wrong with the He family team? While He Xiong and the others were gone, one of the ZH1 members turned to their captain, God Z. God Z's expression turned odd when he heard that. Lin Yan had indeed gone overboard by being the navigator. If any of them had competed, they would have been able to win the race. However, if they had been the navigator, they would have been useless. How could a racer lead the team to victory? Captain, are we really going to race with Miss Lin Yan after the race? Moo asked God Z. If they were to race with Lin Yan, wouldn't they be asking for trouble? God Z chuckled softly. Of course I have such plans. I've already made up my mind before I came. Captain, I'm afraid, we are asking for trouble. Even Miss Lin defeated Speed, one of the ZH1 members muttered with a frown. Although they weren't wearing their uniforms today, they wouldn't represent ZH1 even if they lost the race. However, they knew that they were inferior to Lin Yan. Wouldn't they be asking for trouble? That might not be the case. God Z shook his head. From what we have seen, Miss Lin is only good at arena competitions. We are good at offstage competitions. Even if we lose, it won't be embarrassing to lose to Miss Lin. Pei Yutong's eyes flickered as he stood up hurriedly and raised his hand. Yes, yes, yes. Count me in. I want to run a lap too. Meanwhile, at the venue, Old Tang's team and another team had arrived. Huh, Old Master, you're early. Old Tang walked over to He Dinkuan with a briefcase under his arm and a smile on his face. He Dinkuan's expression changed slightly when he saw Old Tang, but he ignored him. Me too. Tell me, if I were to take over your team, you would get a sum of money that would be enough for your family's expenses. You're already so old and half a foot in the grave. Why don't you take the money and enjoy life outside while you're still alive? If the team loses and gets disbanded, you'll die from anger. That wouldn't be good. Old Tang continued to laugh when Hidinkuan didn't respond. Get lost. Hidinkuan trembled in anger. Oh, old man, look at what you're saying. I'm doing this out of goodwill. Look at you, you're already so old, yet you're still so uncultured, spouting such vulgarities. Truly, the bad guys are getting old. Old Tang sighed. Before the old master could speak, Old Tang's eyes landed on Lin Yen. Hold on. What does she do? Old Tang stared at Lin Yen. What does it have to do with you? Hidinkuan retorted angrily. He. Old master, of course it has something to do with me. Your team is competing against mine, so it's only right for me to find out more about it. Besides, I heard that Hilifeng's navigator ran away. Without a navigator, Hilifeng can't compete. Old Tang sneered coldly. Who said that I don't have a navigator? Hilifeng strode forward and eyed Old Tang coldly. Then, he pointed at Lin Yen. She is my navigator. Chapter 261. She's your navigator? Old Tang studied Lin Yen thoughtfully after he heard Hilifeng. Hidinkuan's expression changed as he frowned at Hilifeng. Oh. A new navigator? Old Tang stroked his chin as he eyed Lin Yen. Young lady, show me your navigator's license. Old Master Hidinkuan and Hilifeng's expressions turned unnatural when they heard Old Tang. Lin Yen had merely been recruited to fill in the numbers. How could she have a navigator's license? For a competition like this, there was no need to check the navigator's license. However, there was a rule that a navigator had to have a professional navigator's license. Without it, they wouldn't be able to participate. Besides, Hidinkuan had already reported that Lin Yen had been selected as a substitute navigator. If Old Tang really wanted to investigate Lin Yan's navigator's license, the He family team might be eliminated. You're not the organizer. What right do you have to show me my navigator's license? Hilifeng bellowed at Old Tang. Hearing this, Old Tang nodded and said, Yes, Xiaofeng, your brain is still the best. I'll call the organizers and have them investigate. Thank you for reminding me. With that, Old Tang took out his phone and called the organizers. Hilifeng's expression darkened as he wished he could slap himself. If he hadn't spouted nonsense, this wouldn't have happened. Lin Yen was speechless. Why would a navigator's license be required for a competition like this? The rules couldn't be that strict. Don't go overboard. Hidinkuan bellowed at Old Tang. Overboard? Old Tang glanced at Hidinkuan and grinned. Old master, I'm afraid that you're getting old and muddled. You might not follow the rules and cheat. You just got someone to make up the numbers. What would you do if something happens? I'm just being considerate. Without giving the old man a chance to speak, Old Tang continued with a smile, Hey, old man, don't be so agitated. Don't tell me I was right. Don't tell me she doesn't have a navigator's license. Hidinkuan's face darkened and his body trembled. Old man, that's going to be troublesome. If she really doesn't have a license, you'll be openly violating the rules of the competition. You'll be banned from the competition. It shouldn't be that serious, right, ah? Old Tang laughed loudly. Hilifeng's heart was burning with anxiety. Old Tang was just like an old fox. Where is the person in charge of the He family team? Moments later, a few staff members from the competition authority arrived at the scene. Hello. Hidinkuan greeted the staff with a smile. It's like this. Someone reported that one of your navigators doesn't have a license. A staff member said, Where is that navigator? Here. Lin Yen waved her hand. Hello, please show me your navigator's license. If you don't have it, you can't participate in this race as a navigator, the staff said seriously. Air. Lin Yen tilted her head and pondered for a moment. Would you believe me if I told you that I didn't bring it? Chapter 262. Actually, Lin Yan regretted saying that. She didn't believe it herself, let alone the others. Ha ha. Old master, do you want your navigator to go back and get it? Old Tang grinned at He Dingkuan. He Dingkuan's face darkened, but he didn't retort. Madam, do you have a navigator's license? The staff member asked sternly. Yes or no? Lin Yan's eyes darted to He Lifeng. Should she have a license or not? Sister Yan, do you have one? He Lifeng's mind went blank. Lin Yan's gaze made his scalp tingle. Oh, I have one, Lin Yan replied solemnly. The staff member nodded. Okay, please show me your license. Lin Yan replied, I didn't bring it with me. The staff member was speechless. He Lifeng was speechless. Are you sure that you have a navigator's license? The staff member asked solemnly. Lin Yan was speechless. Had anyone taught her what to say? All right, since you're sure, follow us to the office. We can check it online, the staff member said. Lin Yan was speechless. She hadn't said that she was sure. In the end, she had no choice but to follow the staff to the office. Meanwhile, in the office, a young man in a business suit was sitting in front of a computer. Lin Yan sat opposite him. Name? The staff member asked. Lin Yan. Lin Yan sighed heavily. Hold on. The staff member nodded and began to check. The staff member's eyes landed on Lin Yan as he frowned. Madam, you don't have a navigator's license. The staff members who had brought Lin Yan back were startled when they heard that. If she didn't have a navigator's license, it meant that the He family team had broken the rules. The He family team is out of the competition. Record the violation and report it to the higher-ups, one of the staff members said coldly. Lin Yan cried out hastily, No. 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 Madam, you don't have a navigator's license. You are prohibited from participating in any racing competitions. The staff member said sternly. I don't have one in the country, but I have one overseas. Lin Yan replied. Abroad? The staff said coldly, Miss, only the navigator license of the International League can be used worldwide. So, even if you have a foreign navigator's license, it's invalid in China. Lin Yan nodded and replied, I understand. That's why my navigator's license is the same as the International League's license. The staff member almost spat out the tea in his mouth when he heard Lin Yan. An international navigator's license? Could it be that this girl was agitated? If she really had an international navigator license, why would she participate in such an ordinary competition? Lin Yan felt helpless when she noticed the stern looks on their faces. Actually, she had a navigator's license initially. However, it had been cancelled because she hadn't been verified. Later on, she had obtained an international navigator's license, so she didn't need a domestic license anymore. Hence, Lin Yan hadn't bothered about it. Besides, she was a racer, not a navigator. I really do. If you don't believe me, you can check, replied Lin Yan helplessly. Sure. The staff at the side said to the staff in front of the computer, investigate. Let's see what tricks she's playing. Chapter 263. Lin Yan nodded and replied, Yeah, check it. It shouldn't have expired, got it. The staff member logged into the international competition and told Lin Yan, point your head at the camera. After a series of facial recognition, the staff member replied, I didn't manage to find this lady's navigator license on the international competition website. The other staff members' eyes darted to Lin Yan at the same time. No way. Lin Yan was astonished. It can't have expired so soon, madam. Is there anything else you want to say? One of the staff members was getting impatient. Yes, yes. Lin Yan frowned. Which international competition did you check? The third level of the international competition, replied the staff member. Lin Yen was speechless. No wonder they couldn't find anything. She had never participated in the third level of the international competition. Why don't you check for the second or first level of the international competition? Lin Yen grinned. The staff member was speechless. The second level of the international competition? The staff members chuckled when they heard Lin Yen. Was this woman out of her mind? Do you have a navigator's license or not? The staff member bellowed. Don't be angry. I really do. If you don't believe me, you can continue to check, replied Lin Yen. The second level of the international competition? Do you know what it means? The staff member sneered coldly. Are you trying to stall for time? Let me tell you, it's useless. If you break the rules, you will be punished. Lin Yen replied, sigh. Let's check first. All right, continue to check. The staff member replied. Lin Yen followed the instructions and pointed her head at the camera. We didn't manage to find any information about this lady's navigator, replied the staff member. Then check the first level of the international competition. I'm sure there is. Lin Yen smiled awkwardly. When she had first participated in the second level of the international competition, she had indeed had a navigator's license. However, after the first level of the international competition, she hadn't paid much attention to the second level of the international competition. It had been too long, so her license had probably been revoked. However, Lin Yen was sure that her license was still there. The first level of the international competition? The leader of the team yelled, investigate. Investigate her. Madam, please continue to aim at the camera. If you can't find any information on the navigator's license, I hope that you can tell us the truth about the He family team, said the staff member. Okay. Lin Yen nodded. Lin Yen adjusted her posture and glanced at the camera. Soon, the light in the camera flashed. The staff member in charge of the inquiry looked at the computer screen. About 10 seconds later, the staff member in charge of the inquiry suddenly narrowed his eyes, and a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. The staff removed his glasses and rubbed his eyes. He put his glasses back on and stared at the computer screen intently. Then, he turned to Lin Yen. No. This. How? The staff member shuddered as he stared at Lin Yen. The staff member quickly retracted his gaze and continued to look at the computer screen with a stunned expression. The computer screen displays information. First level international license. Holder, Yeva's Chinese name, Lin Yen. Chapter 264. The staff member in charge of the inquiry stared blankly at the computer screen. What's wrong? One of the staff members asked. Did you find anything? Lin Yen asked softly. Yes. I found something. The staff member's eyes darted to Lin Yen as he swallowed his saliva unconsciously. There was a picture of Yeva on the screen. Her name and face were exactly the same as the girl in front of him. As a loyal fan of the racetrack's Grim Reaper, he naturally knew that Yeva had never shown her face to the public. Only her apprentices knew how she looked. Really? Immediately, a few of the staff members looked a little surprised. The leading staff member quickly walked into the computer cabinet. The staff instinctively covered Lin Yan's photo and name with a glass of water. Soon, the leading staff member's gaze fell on the computer screen. The first level of the international competition. The holder's Chinese name is Lin Yen. When he saw the line of numbers on the screen, he glanced at Lin Yen in shock. Miss Lin. You really have the first level of the international competition. The staff member muttered in disbelief. Lin Yen heaved a sigh of relief and nodded. I've been overseas before, so I took the test. Along the way, the staff members glanced at each other when they heard Lin Yen. This girl actually had an international league license. Moreover, it was the first international league. The international competition was the holy land of racing, and it was divided into 3 levels. For example, the top teams in the country could only participate in the 3rd level of the international competition. Even so, they had the right to brag about it. However, this girl had the 1st level of the international competition. After confirming Lin Yan's qualification, the staff member closed the website without hesitation. His heart was pounding as he watched Lin Yan. What was going on? How was this possible? This girl was actually his idol. The racetrack's Grim Reaper, the staff member glanced at Lin Yan and asked excitedly, "Miss Lin, have you participated in the 1st level of the international competition as a navigator? Which racer did you work for?" "No." Lin Yan shook her head. "No?" The staff member was startled. "I've never participated in the 1st level of the international competition as a navigator," replied Lin Yan. All this time, she had been participating as a racer. Being a navigator was just a convenience for her. She had never been on the field as a navigator. The staff members looked at each other. He had the license to participate in the 1st level of the Intercontinental League, but he had never participated in an actual match. If that was the case, then the value of this license was a little lacking. "Miss Lin, I'm sure you have participated in the 2nd level of the international competition. Can you tell us which racer you worked with?" asked the man. "No." Lin Yan shrugged. "Then the 3rd one, I didn't." Staff: "So, Miss Lin Yan, you're saying that you've only obtained the top navigator's license in the world and have never participated in any of the 3 major competitions. Is that right?" "Yeah, never." Lin Yan nodded. When they heard Lin Yan admit it, the staff members' expressions turned from excitement to disappointment in a split second. Chapter 265. "Miss Lin, then you must have participated in many top teams' competitions as a navigator, right?" Lin Yan shook her head. "Actually, I haven't. This is my first time competing as a navigator." The leader looked disappointed when he heard Lin Yan's reply. Actually, there were many professionals who could qualify for the 1st level of the international competition. However, obtaining a navigator's license and participating in a competition were 2 different things. Obtaining a navigator's license meant that one was qualified to participate in the 1st level of the international competition. However, that didn't mean that the 1st level would accept them. Being qualified and being capable wasn't the same. In their opinion, if this woman had participated in the 1st level, 2nd level, or even 3rd level, her value would have increased tremendously. It was a pity that she hadn't participated in any competitions. No matter what, this girl had been able to qualify for the 1st level of the international competition. Even if she hadn't participated in any competitions, she would still be considered a top navigator in the country. "Miss Lin, let me give you a suggestion. This is your first race, so I think you should compete with the top teams in the country. With your expertise, you have to work with a professional racer in order to unleash your potential." He Lufeng from the He family team. "The 2 of you are not compatible at all. The final decision doesn't rest in the hands of the navigator. Instead, it rests in the hands of the racer," the staff member advised Lin Yan. "Yes, Miss Lin. With your 1st league license, if you lose the 1st round, it will have some impact on your future career. It's not too late for you to withdraw now," another staff member echoed. This was the first time they had met a professional navigator who had obtained a navigator's license. However, no matter how professional she was, if the racer wasn't good enough, there was no way she could turn the situation around. She could only watch helplessly as she lost the race. Any professional navigator would pay great attention to the selection of a racer. It would be a pity for a talented navigator to be paired with a low-level racer. A navigator's role was to help the racer maximize their potential. He Lufeng, for example, had limited skills. So what if he did his best? How could he scare anyone? He Lifeng is my cousin. Lin Yen replied awkwardly. Cousin, so that's how it is, no wonder. The crew members finally understood why Lin Yen was willing to be He Lifeng's navigator. But, how could he cheat his sister like this? Even if the navigators of the first level of the international competition were here, they wouldn't be able to lead the He family team to victory, let alone the fact that she had never participated in a competition before. To put it more accurately, the navigator was like the sea, while the driver was like the fish in the sea. A high-level navigator and a high-level racer were like the ocean and the whale. Worthy of He Lifeng? Sorry, that's called skin flipping. He Lifeng was like a piece of seaweed. He couldn't even cause a wave in the ocean. How could they expect him to pour the ocean? Of course, this was Lin Yan's family matter. Although the staff felt it was a pity, they couldn't comment on it. You can't say that you have to have an argument with your cousin, right? It's better to find another racer. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.